Number one, I think what you want to first address and come to terms with is that in virtually every single technological revolution, there are two sets of consequences, the intended and the unintended, right? And the intended speak for themselves. Smartphone technology made us vastly more efficient. It made us vastly more productive. It allowed us, it seems to have compressed our time in our day because we now aren't just sitting in a restaurant staring at the walls. We have a media device that we're constantly connected to. So I mean, there were consequences, there were upsides to the technology. The unintended consequences is that there's pretty good evidence now that smartphones have significantly reduced our attention spans. They've reduced our ability to concentrate on a task. There was one study recently that said that even if your smartphone isn't in your hand, even if it isn't turned on, but it just happens to be in the same room, in your coat that's hanging on a coat hook somewhere, it's a psychological distraction for you. So we know that these are unintended consequences, things we never thought of that are not only harming our ability to concentrate, but there's good evidence that it's actually harming our IQs and the IQs of young people coming through the education system. So what we have to first of all address is that with AI, we have to expect that, yes, there will be intended outcomes in our ability to become more productive and efficient, and maybe the ability to analyze and report on data that we didn't have the capacity to do before. But the unintended consequences, as an example, Jack Dorsey's new company, Block, recently laid off 50% of their workforce. They said that it was because of AI efficiency and that they were reformulating the company. If we extrapolate that out, and Dorsey said he believes that other companies are going to follow suit. Within the next 1 to 2 years, you're going to find the vast majority of companies are going to come to the same conclusion, that we can lay off these significant chunks of our workforce. That's going to make companies vastly more productive. The question becomes for who, right? Because these people aren't just workers, they're not just employees, they're presumably consumers in the market as well. And so if you look right now at the top 40 professions, according to a survey from Microsoft, a study that was done that said these 40 professions, and they give the list, are the most exposed and vulnerable to AI and to disruption from AI. If you do the math on how many people occupy those positions in the United States, you get 9 million people occupy these 40 positions, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. If you unemploy those 9 million people, all of a sudden you find that unemployment in the United States rockets to 10%. And that's just on the 40 most exposed positions. What happens if it's 400 positions that are now all of a sudden being swallowed up by AI? We could find ourselves in a position where we have incredibly productive companies and no market to sell into. So we have to be extremely careful as we go forward. And so back to your question, what if I'm the person in the organization that's charged with leading us into the fog of AI? My advice, and I just wrote a column on this actually, is there are a number of things you should be doing before you ever sign a check, before you ever implement. Number one, you should establish an ethics committee in the organization. You should, in advance, begin to research what the red lines are for your company. Where will you go? Where will you not go? We just saw an example of this raise its head in the market when Anthropic got into a bit of a conflict with the Department of Defense in the United States because they had set red lines, they had set guardrails for their technology, which they were now being asked to violate. So, these are going to be issues, and we are going to read about companies that violate people's privacy and violate people's human rights and are accused of fraud because of AI. So it's good to map that out right away. The other thing I think, from my experience in talking with organizations, is that there's the presumption that people understand what AI is and what their relationship is going to be with AI within the organization. But most don't. You're going to have mid-level, managers and directors that are going to have to understand how AI is being used upstream and downstream of their functions and how the technology that they're using is interplaying with that. And then you're going to have executives that are going to need to understand AI on a completely different strategic plane. They're going to need to have an awareness of case studies, not just in their own category or industry, but outside of that, to really begin to think 5, 10 years down the road, how can we potentially use AI to develop the projects that we're working on or to innovate with? So that's number 2. Number 3 is this. If I were to go into the average company today and ask them whether or not Microsoft Office had proven to be a competitive advantage for their business, most would say, of course not, right? If I were to say, well, tell me about social media, I'm sure that your business triumphed over your competitors because you had a Facebook page and they didn't. They'd say, of course not. Everybody has a Facebook page. So technology is very rarely a long-term advantage. And so I think you have to sort of, right off the top, you have to dispel any illusion that you're going to secure a long-term advantage from this technology. What you need to understand is, what are the likely table stakes, right? What are we going to need to invest to at least maintain parity with our competitors? As long as we can do that, we know that we're not losing ground, and that's great. The next question becomes, where can we truly win? And my belief is that the human operating system is going to prove to be profoundly more powerful than the synthetic operating system. And what I mean by that is this. AI is a tool. And it is a tool no different than any other tool, no different than fire, right? Fire can be used to heat your home, or it can be used to burn your home down, right? Depending on how you use it. So the companies that will ultimately prevail with the technology are going to be the companies that have 3 things, in my opinion. The critical thinking to understand the right questions to ask of AI, and the critical thinking to properly evaluate the outputs of AI. And critical thinking today is in short supply. It's not something our school systems are manufacturing anymore, unfortunately, according to research. The second thing is communication, human communication skills. The ability to fully and inspirationally communicate within the organization. The ability to write a cogent brief for your teammates, the ability to debate an idea or a concept and come down to the best solution. That's going to be an invaluable skill. And then the third thing is creativity. And again, creativity is not something that our school systems are producing. When we look at the creativity levels of young kids today, and compared to kids of even 10, 15 years ago, there's a vast difference in creativity. And a lot of it is attributed to the use of passive media, smartphone use, and time spent on screens. So creativity is in short supply. And so you're going to have to go out and look for it. You're going to have to hire it. You're going to have to nurture it. In some cases, we're even seeing companies that are wading into now the educational realm and beginning to grow these skills themselves. So if you can, just to recap, if you can sort of, number one, limit the unintended consequences, identify those up front. set up a committee internally to really understand how are we prepared to use this technology and how can we minimize our exposure to those ugly headlines that a lot of companies are going to suffer. And then thirdly, how can we begin to build this educational ecosystem and this pipeline to the right talent so that we can use this tool in a much more effective and efficient way. If you could do those three things, I think you're way ahead of the game.